This week we're in John chapter 6, a story that we all know so well. A lot of symbolism between the Old Testament, Numbers 11, and what Jesus said in the previous chapter. The bread of life, the bread from heaven. And so, as Jesus sees the crowd, he looks out over them and he asks a question. And whenever Jesus asks a question, I pay attention. And on this day he says, where are we to buy bread that we can feed these people? And these people are 5,000 men and women and children. And so it's a big question. Philip answers and says, well, we probably don't have enough money to buy bread. Jesus knows this. And Jesus knows what he's going to do. Andrew says, there is a boy with 2 fish and 5 loaves. Jesus has the crowd sit down. And there's 2 things of significance on this day that I love. The first is Jesus gives thanks. Now he's got 2 fish and 5 loaves, but he's got more than 5,000 people. Jesus knows it's not enough. But he gives thanks because he knows that his power and the Father in heaven is enough. And Jesus gives thanks and feeds 5,000 men and women and children, and there's food left over. They are all satisfied, and he tells the disciples to round up the leftovers, and it's 12 baskets full. And this is a reminder to the disciples that a basket each, that yes, God can work with a little, that God may take something that's insufficient and make it sufficient, but more than sufficient. And so no matter where we find ourselves in life, the lesson for us is that God is sufficient. Whilst we live in a world that markets other things to us that will make us happy, that will bring joy, the message from Jesus is that He is enough. If you're looking for a relationship with God, not only will you have a relationship, you will have more than a relationship. If you're looking for forgiveness and you think God may not be enough, well, Jesus says He is enough to forgive all your sins and more. And so this is the lesson for us, that God can take the insufficient, make it sufficient and more. And so Jesus is the bread of life, and He does satisfy, and no one will leave hungry. This is the God whom we serve. And so enjoy the discovery and speak more next week.